Rising from the Ashes. Chapter 1. Dreams Amidst Struggles.
Maya lived in a cramped apartment in Evercrest, her walls adorned with sketches that reflected her dreams of becoming an artist. She had an eye for detail and the ability to bring emotions to life on canvas, but her circumstances weighed her down. Working long hours as a waitress at a local diner barely paid her bills, let alone supported her passion. One frigid winter night, Maya sat hunched over her tiny desk, a pile of unpaid bills mocking her from the corner. Her landlord had just issued an eviction notice, and her meager savings were dwindling fast. She stared at her blank sketchpad, her hands trembling with frustration. "What's the point?" she muttered to herself, tears welling in her eyes. She loved art, but the world seemed determined to crush her spirit. That night, as she lay awake in bed, she wondered if it was time to give up her dreams and accept a life of struggle. Chapter 2. The Bricklayer's Wisdom. The next morning, Maya trudged to the diner, her mind clouded with doubt. On her way, she noticed a construction site where workers were building a tall brick structure. Among them was an older man, his hands steady and purposeful as he laid brick after brick. Curious, Maya stopped to watch. She was struck by the man's calm focus, despite the cold wind and the backbreaking nature of his work. During his break, she approached him. "Excuse me," she said hesitantly. "How do you keep going? This work must be exhausting." The man looked up, wiping sweat from his brow, and smiled kindly. "It is hard work, but you don't build a whole house in one day. You lay one brick at a time, and eventually, it all comes together. Life's the same, miss. Whatever you're building, whether it's a house, a dream, or a future, you just take it one step at a time." His words lingered in her mind as she walked away. She didn't know it then, but that brief encounter would change her life. Chapter 3. A New Resolve. That night, Maya sat at her desk, the bricklayer's words echoing in her ears. For the first time in weeks, she picked up her pencil and began to sketch. Her strokes were hesitant at first, but as she lost herself in her work, the doubts began to fade. She made a promise to herself: no matter how small the step, she would work toward her dream every day. The next morning, she started a routine. After her shift at the diner, she spent an hour sketching. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Maya also decided to share her artwork online. Though she had little faith anyone would notice, she figured it was worth trying. One step at a time, she reminded herself. Chapter 4. Small Wins. Weeks turned into months. To Maya's surprise, her artwork began to attract attention. Comments and likes trickled in, encouraging her to keep going. One day, a message from a local gallery owner popped up in her inbox. "We love your work," it read. "Would you be interested in showcasing it at our upcoming exhibition?" Maya's heart raced as she read the message. She couldn't believe someone wanted to display her art. It was a small gallery, but to her, it felt like the world was opening up. She eagerly accepted, realizing this was her first real opportunity to show her work to others. It wasn't just a chance to prove herself, it was a step toward making her dream a reality. Chapter 5. Preparing for the big day. Determined to make the most of her opportunity, Maya threw herself into her work. She juggled double shifts at the diner to buy supplies, then stayed up late into the night creating her best pieces. Her small apartment became a chaotic studio, with canvases stacked against walls and paint smudges everywhere. Exhaustion often crept in, but every time she felt like giving up, she thought of the bricklayer and his steady hands. "This is my foundation," she told herself. "Every brushstroke is another brick." Chapter 6: The Breakthrough. The day of the exhibition arrived. Maya walked into the gallery, her heart pounding with nerves. The room was modest, but to her, it felt grand. She watched as visitors admired her work, some even pausing to take a closer look. Toward the end of the evening, a woman approached her. "I'd like to buy this piece," she said, pointing to one of Maya's favorite paintings. The amount she offered was more than Maya made in a month at the diner. Maya fought back tears as she shook the woman's hand. For the first time, she felt like an artist, not just someone with a dream, but someone who could make it a reality. Chapter 7: A New Life. The success of the exhibition marked a turning point in Maya's life. She received more invitations to showcase her work, and commissions began to pour in. Slowly, she transitioned from working at the diner to becoming a full-time artist. Her journey wasn't without challenges, but Maya faced each one with the same determination she had learned from the bricklayer. She built her career brick by brick, never forgetting the lessons of patience and persistence. Chapter 8: The Lesson of the Bricklayer. Years later, Maya stood in her own studio, surrounded by her paintings. She often thought about the bricklayer who had unknowingly set her on this path. When aspiring artists asked her for advice, she would smile and say, "Success isn't something that happens overnight. It's built one step at a time, like laying bricks for a house. Stay consistent, stay patient, and believe in the process." Maya's story spread across Evercrest and beyond, inspiring others to pursue their dreams. She became a symbol of hope, proving that with hard work and perseverance, anyone could rise from the ashes and build a life they were proud of.